Over the last year, I've posted hundreds of videos online about healthy eating and living, and I want to share with you here in this video one of the most common things I hear from my viewers and patients who are older adults, and that's joint pain. Now, if you're following health content online, which I'm guessing you are because you found this video, you're going to bump into some crazy claims about how to eliminate all of your pain. Things like, just take the supplement, just avoid these chemicals, just eliminate this thing from your diet like gluten or sugar or you name your nutrient, or just do this diet program, and one that might be really extreme. So you name it, it's out there. There are tons of claims for how you can just evaporate your pain overnight. So in today's video, we're going to cut through all that noise and talk about what actually causes pain, like joint pain, and much more importantly, what you can do about it. Hey, I'm Dr. Anna. I'm a medical doctor, and I'm here on this channel to help bring you the best of what I've learned from my career. So let's start at the top. What is joint pain and what causes it? Well, the truth of the matter is there are so many different reasons people might be feeling pain in their joints. It's not that simple. In general, joint pain is going to make movements really difficult and painful. It might cause stiffness, aching, inflammation, and a lot of hot feelings and swollen joints. Or it might just be really difficult to have more mobility, and you'll notice it when you're standing up, sitting down, bending over, laying down in bed, getting up in the morning. Unfortunately, this is something that becomes much more common as we age. Now, the most common cause across the board of joint pain is arthritis, and specifically osteoarthritis. But just talking about arthritis, there are actually more than 100 types of arthritis. So like I mentioned, not all joint pain is the same. We can have things like infections, rheumatologic diseases, neurologic diseases, psychologic diseases, endocrine disorders, musculoskeletal conditions, and more causing joint pain. Not to mention, having previous injuries and having scar tissue inside of our joints is also a very common reason that people feel pain in their joints. So clearly not all joint pain is the same, but hold on a second, there is something we need to understand about this. It is possible that if we are not resolving our joint pain or we're not getting it addressed by a doctor, that there could be some further consequences down the road. And ultimately, if somebody is going on with pain that is not being addressed properly, that's very quickly going to cause them to reduce the amount of physical activity they experience overall in their life. And that's kind of obvious to realize that if that's happening, it's going to be so much easier for somebody to gain weight and to start developing pain in other parts of their body too. And here's the other catch-22 about all of this. The more you move, the better you're going to be eliminating pain and reducing the amount of pain you're going to feel later. So if you stop moving around a lot, you're already feeling pain, and that's probably causing you to move around less, but then all of a sudden your pain is going to actually increase just because you're moving less. So this vicious cycle could quickly lead you down a bad path where your health seems to spiral out of control. And it just so happens that a lot of reason that people even go to the doctor when they're older is just for pain. And if pain is not managed early on and the underlying cause is not properly addressed, this is often going to lead people to depend on analgesic medications or pain meds, and it can be really hard, if not impossible, for people to even get off of them at some point. So now if you have already been to the doctor and you've had an assessment done, but you're wondering what more you can do to optimize your health if you are dealing with joint pain, I would say, yes, there's so much you can do, and we're gonna dive into that information right now. But before we do, please hit the subscribe button and click on the bell notification so you never miss a video from me. I'm here on this channel to bring healthy content and healthy living information to as many older adults as possible, because I think you guys are a group of people that really deserve to learn how to optimize your health, and not enough people are talking about it. So let's dive into how to manage and prevent chronic joint pain. Now, like I mentioned in the beginning, joint pain is not one size fits all. There are so many different reasons somebody might have pain in their joints. It could be osteoarthritis, it could be rheumatoid arthritis, it could be from an infection that they had, it could be from a previous injury. So the truth of the matter is there is no magic fix that's going to be the same for everyone. But what you can do is something that I like to emphasize with my patients, is to take a whole body approach. Understanding that joint pain is often multifactorial and there might be more than one reason why it's happening. But if we take an approach to your care and think about how to optimize the health of your whole body, we're not going to be just depending on painkillers or joint injections. There's so much more we can do. So the first thing that I emphasize everybody do if they're dealing with joint pain is to optimize their diet for health. And that's going to allow for having lots of anti-inflammatory foods in our diet to bring down inflammation overall. One of the causes of pain is actually inflammation experienced. And there are so many reasons why somebody might be experiencing a lot of inflammation in their body. But we know that eating a very healthy diet with lots of vegetables, fruits, herbs, and spices, and healthy oils, things like olive oil or avocado oil, that's going to help tame the inflammation that we experience in our body. It might not eliminate it entirely, but it's certainly going to help. And one of the best eating approaches that I like to teach is the Mediterranean diet. And this is a mostly plant-based diet that has plenty of variety of foods. Nothing is technically off limits. It's going to include lots of healthy sources of produce with plenty of anti-inflammatory properties, lots of different phytochemicals inside of there, fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, herbs and spices, oils like olive oil, fatty fish, high quality protein sources like seafood, beans, lentils, and other types of meat. The Mediterranean diet is such a fantastic way of eating, and it's just going to help you feel better overall in your health. And something I like to emphasize as well with my patients is to eat a whole foods diet. And there's a ton of different conflicting research out there about whether specific antioxidants that are found in food, a famous one being resveratrol, which is in red wine, whether that's actually going to move the needle on our health or in the experience we have of pain or inflammation. Well, in general, we do know that people absorb nutrients better when they're from the whole food form, not to mention the fact that food is complex in and of itself. There are plenty of different nutrients inside of a single food. We get vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals from any of the plant sources, for example. So I tend to recommend that folks focus on eating and optimizing their diet for healthy whole foods first before reaching for supplements. But supplements are then a great tool if there's a reason somebody can't eat certain foods, they can't absorb certain nutrients, they're on a certain medication, etc. Now, I sort of alluded to this in talking about a whole foods diet, but another thing we can do to really optimize our health and tame inflammation is to cook with lots of healthy herbs and spices. I was taught to think this way when I was in my nutrition school before I went to medical school. There are cuisines around the world from so many different countries that have lots of spicy food. And often these cuisines are going to come from regions of the world close to the equator where it's a very hot temperature outside most of the year. And using lots of flavorful spices, things like curry or turmeric or chili pepper, are going to actually help keep food from perishing. So it actually has certain antibacterial properties and prevents food from spoiling too quickly. Now, that's not to say that it works like an antibiotic would because it's not targeted, but in thinking about the fact that some spices can help prevent bacteria from growing on the outside of our body, so in food, you can appreciate how it's very likely that herbs and spices and these types of things are going to help bring down inflammation inside of our body too. So while that's not the most scientific explanation, it just kind of makes sense. And this doesn't have to just be from spicy food because not everybody does well with spices. It can also be from some really flavorful root vegetables, things like ginger, garlic, or onions. These are really healthy foods for us that add a lot of flavor and dimension to our cooking and tend to have really anti-inflammatory properties. But it's not only about things we can cook with. Having lots of teas can be super beneficial. And there's a lot of research on having things like green teas in our diet to help tame inflammation overall. And I should mention that in eating a healthy diet with lots of spices and allium vegetables like the onion, the garlic, the ginger, drinking lots of teas, this is not only good for our immune system, but this is also really good for our digestive system. And it just so happens that our immune system and our digestive system are really linked together. Now, next, if you want to optimize your health for improving your joint pain, it's really important to stay active. We know that joint pain, as I mentioned in the beginning, can make moving much more difficult because we have to move against pain. That's why the most important thing to do is to not overextend yourself if you're dealing with an acute exacerbation of pain. If that's the case, you do want to go very light on your joints. You want to start with some gentle movements. It can be things like swimming or yoga or tai chi. and then gradually increasing the ability to move with biking or even jogging or doing some other types of sports. One of the best things you can also do is work with a physical therapist. And that's one of the things we often prescribe to a patient who's coming into the office with joint pain, because a physical therapist is really the expert to understand movement and how the movement is affecting your joints and the rest of your body. And then thinking about if you're not in an acute exacerbation of pain, but you often have chronic joint pain, but you're trying to get ahead of it and break the cycle, well, this is where our conversation about strength training exercise comes in. We know that maintaining healthy muscles is a big part of maintaining healthy bones and healthy joints. And this is true for the entirety of our lifetime. It's really not enough to think about these things once we have joint pain and we're age 50, 60, 70. We have to actually start thinking about this as early as possible. But if you're somebody who has really never engaged in muscular exercise, in resistance training, lifting weights, well, it's never too late to start. There are incredible examples of people into their 80s, 90s, or even at 100 years who are still very physically active and very fit. And it is pretty much the case that in all of those examples, they are doing some kind of weight training or resistance training. It is so important for maintaining the health of our muscles and the rest of our musculoskeletal system. So if you're interested in getting started with that, you can think about starting off by either doing something at home, by following a video, but better yet, working with a trainer, somebody who can watch your body posture so you're not overextending yourself or getting yourself injured or hurt, which is really the most devastating thing. Now, as an aside, I am a weightlifter myself. I do like to go to the gym, and I'm often running into plenty of older adults who are crushing it and lifting way more weight than I can. But all the same, I see a lot of people, not just older adults, but people of any age, doing absolutely crazy things in the gym, and you just think to yourself, they are asking for an injury. Well, if you've seen those types of videos, you've probably been amazed in both humor and horror. So try not to let that be you. Make sure you're getting some professional guidance if you need it. And now you might be thinking, what else can we do besides healthy eating and healthy exercise? Well, we have to obviously address hydration. It is so important for the health of our body. A lot of our joints have a fluid sac around them, and that allows enough nourishment to be flushed through the joint. So it's really important that our body has enough hydration so that our joints, especially the joints of our shoulders, of our hips, and our knees, can stay very mobile. This is where a phrase that I learned a long time ago before I was in medical school and I was studying nutrition, this idea that motion is the lotion for our joints. We have to move a lot, but we have to make sure we're hydrated enough to allow this very easy motion within our joints to feel like it's supported and healthy. So one of the easiest things you can do to improve your hydration is just to make a habit of drinking throughout the day. So then you never have to be stuck in a situation where you're really thirsty and the only thing around you are sugary beverages like sodas or juice. That's really not the same as drinking plain water. And of course, this is not just important for our joint health, this is important for our overall health. And we know that dehydration is a common issue amongst older adults. So now, so far, what we've described is by addressing our overall health as a way to address our joint health, so that we don't have to rely on pills for pain or injections or even things like surgery. We can try to get ahead of it and optimize our health with healthy foods and anti-inflammatory diet, using lots of spices and allium vegetables, making sure we're exercising enough, taking it easy, getting professional help where we need it, and staying super hydrated. And if you're really jazzed up just thinking about this like I am, you're probably ready to dive even deeper into how to optimize your health and how to actually eat a healthy diet and maintain a healthy eating regimen over time. Well, I have tons of other videos on this channel. You're going to love that content. Jump into those videos and I'll see you in there.